In 2012, an underground mini-golf course was built in a backyard, and a small group of players fight 6 times a year to come out on top, while also helping to raise money for different charities. At the end of this episode, you will see one of those players crowned champion, if only until the next tournament. And you'll understand why everyone keeps coming back to GolfKon.
Except wait, this isn't Season 5. In fact, it isn't even Season 6. This would be the last tournament of Season 7. Except I kind of stopped doing all these videos because I ran out of hours in my waking life once the whole Fastest DeLorean fiasco started. And on top of that, the work of lining up the charities and the sponsors and type of producing everything was just too much by myself. But then, I saw a post from Michael O'Keefe on Facebook, and he was in LA. And I figured if he was willing to christen the gopher hole, I'd jump in again. He was.
I can't believe you're here, first of all. I don't understand. It's cool, but what on earth made you say, oh, okay.
Well, when you sent me the tease about the show and you made clear the donation aspect of it, I mean, that's an easy sell for me. Once you say to me, if you do this, we're going to donate a certain amount of money to charity, then I'm in. It was one of the ways I got back into playing the game, because when I made the movie, I really wasn't a golfer. I trained for the film for about 2 months.
Right.
And put together a swing that was reasonably good. And then about 20 years later, I started getting invited to these charity golf events and realized, oh, so you're saying I show up, I play golf at Riviera, for instance, and they're going to raise money for the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Fund? Yeah, I'll do that.
Wow.
Just a no-brainer.
Right.
So then I kind of eased back in and started playing every once in a while. But now, the last 5 years, I haven't really played much at all because I'm a dad. I have a 5-year-old.
Oh, I have a 5-year-old as well, who turns 6 tomorrow.
Awesome.
She's very excited. And I also have a 4-year-old son who will turn 5 on Christmas Day.
Fantastic.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, right.
That's rough. We celebrate his half birthday because of that, because he gets screwed otherwise.
That is actually a perfect segue into this tournament, as it most decidedly was a family affair and sort of a coming out party for my kids, who are finally at an age where they grasp the basics of golf enough to keep trying. So instead of a normal tournament video, this is going to be more of a celebration of both Mr. O'Keefe's inspiration to keep going and my kids finally being a part of everything.
Alright, we keep going. Cam gets a par.
Nominated for Academy Award in Caddyshack, were you thinking, okay, this is just how this goes, and here's the next step? How do you deal with those next steps not always working out and it being maybe 10 more years?
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, as far as actors in my generation, I came as close as anybody to becoming a movie star without actually becoming a movie star, which has its own kind of pitfalls and problems.
Right.
Having said that, I'm really grateful for my career as an actor, and I've had a nice run, and especially the last several years, I've been getting some really interesting opportunities. But, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that the fact that I didn't become like an A-list movie star didn't rankle my nerves, because they dangled that carrot pretty close, and it didn't work out, and so I had to kind of reset, and reboot and get my priorities straight. And that's the interesting thing now about being a parent, actually, because when you, and I don't need to tell you this because you've got 2 kids, you start realizing, oh, I'm not doing this just for me anymore.
Yeah, that changes.
And then it's like, not only am I not doing it just for me, it's more important that I do it for my family, that I do it for my son.
Seems pretty clear how much he was speaking to me, since from the very beginning, that was what GolfKon was about.
Is there any particular reason why you built a 9-hole putt-putt golf in your backyard?
Initially, it was just to cover the ground in a creative way. But the reason I made it this nuts, I have a daughter. I was about to have a kid. And in my mind, I was thinking, putting has no gender bias, has no age bias over a certain age. A 5-year-old girl could come here and honestly beat everybody's ass,
right?
And that's why I did all these little events and so forth, because she's gonna grow up, and now my son is gonna grow up seeing all that.
Right.
And eventually, they're gonna come and they're gonna beat someone 30, 40 years old, and I think that's That was what I thought was cool.
And now Vienna actually seems to have the patience to attempt the most frustrating game in the world, even though Cam is far more competitive.
That's a good shot. You got a chance. Oh, it might be a bird. Oh, that's okay. Just tap it in. Tap it in for a 3. That's great.
Both kids qualified for the very first time and were officially being recorded in GolfKon history. Speaking of GolfKon history, besides Caddyshack, Michael played Jackie's husband Fred in Roseanne, making him now the second 80s and 90s sitcom star, along with George Wendt, to grace us with his presence.
You know, the thing about Roseanne, I mean, and she's a genius, you know, I mean, and now, you know, we're all very much aware of her current status and current problems, and leaving that aside for a second, she is as talented and as gifted as any artist in television, and proved that repeatedly on a weekly basis. And so that was an amazing opportunity. Having said that, it was not a very happy opportunity. You know, it was a very complicated place to work. And so when she burned down the house, as it were, recently, I wasn't, unfortunately, I wasn't terribly surprised.
Right, nobody. I think
when that happened.
Were yours I was very impressed with. It seemed like a moment where we could all get back together, because that show was a progressive show.
Oh,
like,
sure.
it was clear what they were doing,
Sure.
and they were trying to grab just her off comments to make it look balanced. But no, that was a progressive.
Yeah, no,
angle.
she went, you know,
and she went along with it.
Yeah, she went a certain way. So I mean, you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe this thing, the Kontras, will be great, and there'll be something to that as well.
Gonna say,
who knows?
have you been approached? Like,
No,
it would
they,
seem,
you know, they're not coming to me then.
You don't think?
No, you know, I'm not even on the B list for that stuff. You know, so they're not coming my way.
Well,
if they come my way, I'll cut you in. That's how confident I am. They're not coming my way.
Really?
I'll cut you in. If they come my way, you're going to get a piece of the action,
All right.
and it's on film.
I
or
guess.
whatever this is. It's not filmed.
The reason I was thinking is, okay, well, now they have to deal with Jackie, and they've never mentioned your kid together, right? So, I'm sure he exists, and I would presume that you guys divorced and you took the kid for whatever reason. That's the only thing left.
Don't probe too deep into my insights about the character on Roseanne, because I got busted on Twitter recently because somebody tweeted at me when the reboot was happening, what was Fred's last name? And I tweeted back, I have no idea.
Yeah, somebody brought it up. I saw that, and I don't think they knew it. It must have been in some script.
I think it was Fred Oakland. I think they actually knew, and frankly, I don't know.
That's great.
Today's tournament will be sponsored by the Hirschlag family, who agreed to donate $9 for every birdie and $18 for every eagle to one of O'Keefe's favorite charities, Chrysalis, a nonprofit organization changing lives through jobs. I had the privilege of starting things off playing with my son Cameron, who is dressed as Mario.
A little hard, but he might get it. Might get it. Oh. Yeah.
While I'm dressed as Mario after the mushroom. Cam showed his prowess early with a hole-in-one on 2.
Oh, I think he did it. I think he did it. I think he did it. Good job, dude.
But what happened on the infamous gopher hole with Michael Cole in Vienna will be in GolfKon lore forever. In fact, for some perspective, I'll take you to Michael O'Keefe's journey with this hole.
I need to warn you about this hole, by the way. It is probably the hardest hole on the entire course. It's not going to be nice to you. So don't feel bad if you can't knock this out. But I will say Joel Murray did it, and he had no problem.
Joel's a great golfer.
Yeah, he's a really good golfer.
I want to just say one thing about this, which is something that Arnold Palmer said about golf, which is that golf does not build character, it reveals character.
I like a heavier putter.
Okay. Oh, here's the problem. It is a left-hand only.
Get out of here.
Just for...
What are you talking about?
Just for this hole, you have to tee off left-handed, so you're going to need to bring that for the rest of them.
Tee off on you.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It's not, this is not,
Trying to do to me.
you didn't see our magical leaderboard that I made. Look at this thing.
Oh my god.
Is that crazy?
Oh my god. Oh, it's you. You're doing pretty well there. Oh my god.
No, it's not. No, look. Matt. I won the first year, and then I got destroyed. I haven't won in like 3.5 years.
Who is Matt Lendak?
Matt Lendak is apparently the best GolfKon 9 player of all time.
Clearly, he's a legend in the GolfKon world.
Boy, is he gonna like it that you just said that.
Hey, come
Okay, yeah, that's all right. That's one. At least you're on the green, and now you can move to this if you feel more comfortable.
Goddamn right, I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get down here and give it an accurate readout.
Okay.
Okay. Just trying to. Here, hold on to these, will you? Now.
Yeah.
Looks like it goes a little right to left before it hits the hill, and then it's gonna go up that little hill. All right, let's see what I can do here. Oh, what?
That's actually exactly what you didn't want to do. Okay. However, you do get this is a course defect. Yeah, so that's my bad. But yeah, right, so this is for now. That's makeable. This would be for par. You could actually make
par
that.
Save.
This could save it. You could save this.
Par save. No pressure. This is for the scholarship. University of Nebraska.
He does it.
Look at that.
He does it.
I'm back.
That is, dude. That was
an easy par.
That is not an easy putt. My goodness.
Back to the tournament and Cole's attempt at par.
Oh.
These holes are no joke.
Chance for me to come back. This is a comeback starts right here.
Here's Vienna's comeback.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
No.
That's
just like real golf.
Yeah, this is fine. This is your only chance not to six it.
This is a horrible line.
I'm like the
Wow, Vienna, you got a chance to beat him.
It happens. It happens.
All right, go for it.
I have no change.
All right.
And Vienna's first putt was similar to Mr. O'Keefe's lie. This moment is the one I've spoken of for 6 years.
Ideally, the biggest thing, I did this after my daughter was born. I eventually want her to win this. That's what I want. That's my goal. I'm going to teach her. I'm going to make sure.
How old's your daughter, Adam?
She's 7 months old, but I'm going to be here for a while.
Granted, it's one hole. She ended up with a 14 over, but for one hole, one moment, she won. And if she keeps at it, she can absolutely beat anyone. That was the foundation of my hard work 6 years ago, and I can hardly believe we're at the precipice of this happening.
Going back to Caddyshack, you feel like you have some credibility. Obviously, you were an Academy Award nominee. Walking onto that set, was it at any point did you feel like, Jesus, this is Bill Murray? This is
well, you know, it's not so much that I was intimidated by those guys. Right. It's that I was not in their league. That's what was clear when we started
comedically
working. Yeah. So I mean, I kind of grabbed onto their coattails.
Yeah.
And especially with Chevy, because Chevy was really way down the line on his early success as a movie star, and he had extraordinary capacity with improv and spontaneity and all that. And so I was kind of like, you know, let me just grab onto that. And you know, when you're young and you have a job opportunity like that, and you know, when I in my mind's eye was like, I'm going to do a movie with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray, which is like pretty cool. And Rodney Dangerfield. I was like, well, that's awesome. And then Ted Knight, and I was like, well, that's pretty amazing. And I said, well, you know, I'll just show up and do whatever they want me to do. And the thing, there's a lot of different reasons why Caddyshack worked, and everybody's got their opinion about it, and even those in the know have their opinion about it. But for my money, the reason the film worked was because Harold Ramis was able to take these four disparate guys, although Billy and Chevy did have similar chops, but he took these four guys and he kind of shuffled this deck and brought it back Caddyshack.
Right.
And Doug Kenny had a lot to do with that, and so did Brian Doyle Murray in terms of the initial concepts of the script and how it was being written. Right. But I would say when we got there, we threw out at least 30% of the script. And the rest of it was, what can we get between Chevy and Billy? What can we get between Rodney and Ted? What can we get between Ted and Chevy?
Right.
That's not there yet, but is going to elevate this to a place where, you know, everybody's going to love it. And that's what Harold did. And Harold was affable, relaxed, capable, and probably the only guy that could call all of that together, you know. And as he often said in interviews, it was like he had his 4 Marx brothers, which made me gummo.
I think it's just unfair because you're a great actor, obviously. I mean, but you're in a position.
I was happy to be the sort of, reasonably good-looking brother.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
The remainder of the tournament was a battle between Fred and Michael. Fred's double bogey 5 on hole 3 ended his hopes right off the bat.
Holy Christ, Fred.
And Michael cruised to a 7-stroke win.
Good job, dude.
Thanks.
So the GolfKon season comes to an end, and we go back one more time to Mr. O'Keefe.
Being open to something like this, I don't care if it's for charity or not for charity. Not a lot of people would do this. This is some dudes. This is not a fancy house. We're in a shed.
Really, you didn't know, Adam, but this is actually your intervention.
Right.
That's why I'm here. Your friends and family are very, very concerned. You've got a bar in your backyard with a miniature golf course and a DeLorean time machine.
It's a little much.
We need our help. That's why we're here.
I do have to say, as opening lines go for interview requests, I probably haven't heard many like this. So, I can at least say, well, yeah, okay, maybe that's why. It's just such a bizarre thing for somebody to say. Can you explain a little bit about the charity that we're donating
Well, the
to?
Chrysalis Foundation is downtown Los Angeles, and they provide services for people that are homeless. For instance, if you're a homeless person in downtown Los Angeles, you could get a post office box because you need to have an address in order to get a job.
That's awesome.
Right? If you have a job interview, they have a wardrobe where you can go and get a suit.
Wow.
Or a dress, and a new pair of shoes, and then show up for your job interview. So I think the world of them. They've been in Los Angeles, I don't know, 25, 30 years at least, because I remember supporting them back in the 90s. So I think the world of them. They're on 5th Street and Main Street downtown. Their address is on Main Street, and if you were just walking in downtown Los Angeles, you would see them.
With door donations and birdies, the grand total raised for Chrysalis was $545. A big thank you to the Hirschlag family for the check, and clearly to Mr. O'Keefe, who made every second of this possible. See you all in 2019.